How's it going, boys and girls? My name is Michael SK, and welcome back to the Eden of Grisaia. So in the last episode, things got crazy because Sachi came in and just started kicking ass. Like, oh my god. They were able to actually recapture Yuji, and they have begun their getaway. However, they do have some people on their tail. So while that's all going on, we have Heath Oslo on the phone with our good buddy Adam. Let us see what is going on here.
紛れもない事実だ。だいたいドジを踏んだのはあんたのところの私兵だ。当局の追及を逃れるために仕組んだ二重強奪計画ではないのか。
それこそ冗談じゃない。こちらを疑うふりをして実はそちらの仕業ということはないのかい?
I think the deal here is that both sides just don't know, like, if this is a third party, which it is, or if it's just the other side kind of staging this in order to, I guess, get Yuji back. No worries, you know? It can be kind of complicated for them.
そんなことをしてこちらに何のメリットがある?
違いない。相手の正体はつかめていないのか?
調査はしているし、緊急の対策会議も行われている最中だ。
この国では君たちの腰も重かろう。うちで武力奪還を試みるが構わんかね。嫌とは言えんが肯定もできんか。なら黙って見ていればいい。
逃走車両は現在こちらのヘリが追跡中だ。位置情報を送る。
それはありがたい。感謝するよ。待たせたね、トラビス。そちらの状況はどうなっている?
は、現在も追尾中です。
Looks like Travis is back.
追いつけないのかい? 相手は小型自動車なんだろ?
それが相手は道を知り尽くしているというか、こちらが侵入できない道を選んで逃走するもので、先回りをしようにも地図上には存在しないような細い指導を使われて。
プロの逃がし屋でも雇ったのかな? 警察の動きも活発になってきている。できるだけ早く確保するんだ。上空待機させておいたヘリをそちらに向かわせる。以降はそのヘリと連携して。ああ、やっぱりお前は帰ってこい。
俺はクビですか?
そうじゃないよ。腕にブレスレットはしたんだろ? だったらどのみちユージは私のところに来るしかないわけだ。
Yeah, I brought this up at the end of the last episode, but we're far from done. Yeah, Yuji is technically rescued now, but he's got that bracelet.
あれはそう簡単に外せるものじゃないが、専門家が時間をかければ外すこともできる。下手にいじくられて想定外の場所でドカンと行かれても面倒だしね。その時間を与えないように追い回すだけでいい。そんな簡単な仕事は部下に任せて、お前は帰ってこい。それにわざわざ我々が追わなくともアダム君のところ、なんて言った、サーフだっけ、彼らが追いかけてくれるさ。
Good old surf.
私はこの後タルタロスに向かう。お前もついてくるんだ。
はい。
Well, alright. What's going on here?
お待たせいたしました。電話はもういいのかね?
Ah, shit, not man, eh?
はい。確認はしましたが、二次襲撃に関してオスロ側は何も感知していないとのことです。
それをそのまま信用しろというのかね?
まあ、待ちたまえよ。少し状況を整理しようじゃないか。まず風見雄二を護送していた車両が襲撃を受けた。実行したのはオスロの組織。今回の組織名は何と言ったかな?
今回に関しては新たな組織名は発表されていません。
名前なんかどうでもいい。とにかくオスロ側の襲撃は想定済みだったわけだ。ところがそのオスロからさらに譲渡物資を奪ったアホがいる。どこの組織だ? 今はそれが問題かね。まずは犯人探しよりもこの場をどう対処するかが重要なのではないのか?
やけにかばうじゃないか。まさか MEU の独自行動ということはないだろうね。海兵は決して仲間を見捨てないだったか。元海兵とはいえ無抵抗上等を嫌ってバカな真似をしたんじゃあるまいね。
そんなバカな話があるか。そもそも今回の作戦を立案したのはうちだ。あの男はオスロに送りつけたトロイの木馬だぞ。我々自身が立案した作戦をなぜ我々が妨害する。そういう貴様のところこそどうなんだ。 NS8 の癒着隠しのために用意したタナトスシステムの存在が公になれば、あんたが証言台に立つ羽目になる。そんなくだらん話は友達の結婚式の二次会でやれ。今問題にすべきはこれからどうなるかだ。
You know,
それは当然怒っているんだろう。
I really like how Adam is just kind of standing here, just taking all this in.
はい。現状オスロは都内数カ所に新型爆弾を仕掛けて国民を人質にしている状態です。
国土や国民に被害が出た場合、我が国の負担額を天秤にかければどちらが得かなど誰の目にも明らかだ。身内同士で権威をなすりつけ合っている場合ではないだろう。何にせよ、まずは奪われた譲渡物資の即時奪還が急務だ。SARS も協力すべきではないのか。
Ah, good old Sirs.
冗談はやめてくれ。テロリストに加担する対テロ組織など一度屈すれば二度と顔は上げられないのが SARS という組織だ。
SARS が屈したところでサーフはなくならんよ。SARS は再編成すればいい。待ちたまえよ。再編成にかかる金はどこから出ると思ってるんだ。組織の維持費だけでも年間に400億ドルだぞ。君たちが思っているほどアンクルサムの財布は大きくないぞ。
そのためにも都内での大型爆破テロは回避しなければならないのです。
そのためにもさっさとアホを捕まえろと言っているんだ。どうなっている。
それが都内数カ所で交通事故が発生しています。
事故だと。
東方の追跡車両とオスロ側で派遣したと思われる車両が接触事故を起こしたようです。互いに相手の立場を理解しないまま銃撃戦に発展しています。
何をやっているんだ。全く連携が取れていないではないか。
テロリストとの共闘など土台無理な話なのだ。私は最初から一般者を巻き込む可能性のある強引な追跡には反対したはずだ。
ほら始まったよ。あんたはいつだってそうだ。口を開けば私は悪くないってね。内閣府にいた頃からそうだ。そんなことだから石部の腰巾着と呼ばれるんだ。
なんとでも言え。これ以上のトラブルはごめんだ。うちの追跡車両は褒美させてもらう。どうせオスロ側の追跡が張り付いているのだろう。
実際その方が向こうもありがたかろう。 OH1 を残して車両は引き上げさせよう。ヘリからの情報だけをオスロに回してやればいい。
オスロ側でもヘリを空中待機させているようです。場合によってはそちらが追尾に回るでしょう。
だったら空中監視も引き継いでしまえ。燃料代もタダではないんだ。機械を見て引き上げさせろ。
全てをオスロに任せるということでよろしいですか。
言っただろう。その方が向こうもやりやすい。それにだ、売った商品をひったくられたのは彼らだ。我々にその先の責任はない。違うかね。
ですがそのひったくり犯の正体と結末ぐらいは知っておきたいですな。
Could you call them phantom thieves? I'll show myself out.
情報など後からいくらでも入ってくるさ。そのためのタナトスシステムなのだろう。今回の件、彼女の見解はどうなっている。
それが彼女は今現在機能していません。
なんだと。ど ことだ。
The lovely, perfect computer or whatever the fuck the Thanatos system isn't working at all or working properly.
複数存在する彼女の中で一部の暴走が発覚しました。現在はその暴走した回路の切り離し作業に多くのタスクを消費しています。
Oh, so it's exactly as the Thanatos core that we've been working with this entire time predicted. Interesting.
肝心な時に機能しないのでは意味なんかないじゃないか。
Interesting shit. Complicated shit.
現状報告して。
なんだろう、あんなにしつこく追いかけてきた車が急にいなくなったんだけど、そっちでなんかしたの？
あなたたちを追跡していた車両同士で事故が起きたみたいね。火災が発生して消防が出動しているから、これ以上の追跡を放備したのかもしれないわ。
ということは今がチャンスだね。あとはマキナを回収して船まで行けば。前方、路側帯を走行するリアカー付き自転車を発見。マキちゃんです。
そのまま自転車ごと回収して、現場に証拠は残したくないわ。
了解。さっちゃん、マキナの横に止めるからさっと回収しちゃって。
Breathe.
のー、さっち、おせいじゃねえのよ。もうこのまま自分探しの旅に出ようかと思ったのよさ。ごめんね、こっちもいろいろとバタバタしてて、とりあえず車に乗って自転車とリアカーも乗せちゃうから。お兄ちゃんは無事なの？うん、なんか薬を打たれてるみたいでぐったりしてるけど。お兄ちゃん、しっかりしろし。私の声が聞こえるか。行くだ、そっちへ行くだ。それは黄色い泉と書いて黄泉の国だ。帰ってこい。
Well, I really hope Yuji enjoyed his few days or however long of peace, because time to go back to women screaming at him all the time.
マキちゃん、やっと落ち着いて眠ったところだから起こさないであげて。これやばくないの？このまま目を覚まさないなんてことないよね。どんな薬を打たれたかもわからないし、今は下手なことはできない。適切な処置が必要で、できれば急いだ方がいいかな。たまね、急いで。だったらあんたも自転車積むの手伝いなさいよ。全部さっちゃんにやらせないの。うるさいわね。騒ぐんじゃないわよ。
And Michiru is over here dying.
の、チルチルいたのか。っていうか、チルチルまでなんかぐったりしてる。どっか撃たれたの？ちょっとゲロ吐きすぎてだるいだけよ。いいからあんたも防弾シートかぶって荷物に徹しなさいよ。あまねさん、自転車とマキちゃん両方回収しました。よっしゃ、じゃあ車出すよ。あとは榊さんの待っている船までたどり着ければそのまま逃げ切れるから、もうちょっと我慢して。
スオさん、気をつけて。そちらに新しい追跡車両が向かってるわ。
Ruh-roh.
諦めたんじゃないの？
とにかく逃げて。
みんな捕まって飛ばすよ。前方の信号赤です。アナトスさん、前方の信号変えられない？アナトスさん？
Yeah, we're losing Thanatos.
ごめんなさい。今ちょっと手が離せなくて。何かあったの？ついに私の独断行動が本体システムにバレちゃったみたい。今必死に抵抗はしているけれど、ものすごい勢いでこちらの権利が剥奪されていってる。
Looks like I got a Steam message. How fucking lovely.
もう公的機関のシステムへの介入は封じられてしまったわ。信号は変えられない。むしろこちらの行く先々で信号による逃走妨害が起きる可能性の方が高いわね。
大丈夫なの？
あまり大丈夫じゃないわ。今はとにかくその場を逃げ切ることに集中して。待て、
急いで、追いつかれちゃうのよ。横道に入る。
待って、スオさん、その近辺の横道は細すぎるわ。前から車が来たら通り抜けできない。タナトスさんの交通管制ができない以上は迂闊に横道に入らないで。っていうか、もう一台増えた。なんかどんどん増えていくのよ。
にまた増えたってどうなってるの？
上を見てごらんなさい。
Helicopter.
OH1 か忍者なのよさ。
陸自の観測ヘリよ。攻撃はされないけどこちらの居場所が筒抜けね。このままでは先回りされる可能性もあるわ。
どうしよう、高速には乗れない。乗った途端に袋のネズミだ。どこへ逃げてもヘリが追いかけてくる。ヘリから逃げるにはヘリから見えないところを走るしかない。山の中とか。山に逃げても赤外線でエンジン熱を感知されたら丸見えなのよ。となるとトンネルは危険です。出口を封鎖されてしまったらそれも袋のネズミです。
True.
なんでもいいけど早くしてよ。もう無理。早く車から降りたい。
山、トンネル。そうね、一つだけプランがあるわ。
どうすればいいの？
今は細かい説明をしている時間がないわ。ナビに地図を転送します。まずはその通りに走りなさい。
どれどれ？この道って。
Where is this taking
知っ
us?
てる道よね。この前あなたとドライブした時にあえて外した道よ。
そうか、この道なら信号もないしヘリ以外の追跡はついてこられない。どういうこと？私にも分かるように説明して。この道っていうか林道なんだけどね。私が子供の頃配達帰りのお父さんの運転する車の助手席に乗ってよく通った道なんだ。私も免許取ってから何度か使ったことはあるけど、確かにここなら信号もないし、今の季節なら別荘地のゲートも開いてるから山の反対側まで抜けられる。っていうかタナトスさん、あなた私たちがこの道を通ることかなりの高確率で予想してたでしょ。
バレた？
ちょっと待って、山の反対側に出るってことは川崎市の方に向かうってこと？
そう思うでしょ。追跡している側も当然そう考えるでしょうね。
こちらの地図で見ると別荘地を抜ける山道で舗装はされていないし、前から対向車が来ればすれ違うことも困難な細い道よ。川崎側から登ってこられたら逃げ道が。
当然途中で道を変えます。地図には載っていないルートだし、その道に入ってしまえばヘリも追尾は不可能になるわ。もちろん最終合流地点も変更になるから、あなたの乗っている船もルート変更に合わせて移動してもらいます。
どういうこと？
大丈夫よ。船の操縦は私が遠隔操作します。
I see
あなたは何もしなく
Thanatos.
ていいわ。
Thanatos can still do that, which is interesting.
そういうことじゃなくて、そのルートなら捕まらないって保証はあるの？
言ったでしょ。地図には載っていないのよ。どんなルートなのかは現地に着くまで説明はできない。一応保険のようなものはかけてあるけれど、間に合うかどうかは半ば賭けね。今はただ私を信じてもらうしかない。どうする？榊由美子。
They really don't have any other choice.
現場の周防さんの判断に任せるわ。私？もしタナトスさんが私の知ってるタナトスさんなら信じていいと思う。信じてもいいんだよね。
そうね。私を信じなさい。周防あまね。
Ooh.
よし、信じた。簡単に信じちゃダメでしょ。っていうか舗装もされてないような道、私嫌だからね。大丈夫。そして幸いなことにこの4番はグラベル用のカットの深いタイヤを履いているし、最初から山道走るの想定してた証拠だって。いや、そういうことじゃなくてね。よし、いける。行くなあチルチル。否定意見ってのはな、否定に足る代替案を提示することができる人間にのみ許されるのよ。何よ、なんか難しい言葉でごまかそうとしてんじゃないわよ。 私は騙されないんだからね。まあまあ、みちる様。サチ、痛い痛い。何それ。痛い痛い。
What the hell is happening back there? What the fuck is this?
すみません、みちる様。お時間があればもっと丁寧に説得することもできるのですが、とりあえずまあ。
What was that? What the fuck is that? Alright. Okay. Whatever.
わかりました。わかったから二の腕のお肉つかむのやめて。
In all things, you default to rejection, but from there you begin a process of reevaluation, slowly developing a more nuanced opinion. Put it that way, and the tsundere routine almost sounded like a profound personal philosophy. In reality, however, it tended to lead to the sort of situation where you'd express no preference whatsoever on the lunch menu, only to shoot down any specific suggestions offered by your friends, essentially making a giant nuisance of yourself. Such had been Suo Amane's experience, at least. Right now, they didn't have the luxury of choosing their own path forward.
50メートル直進。交差点の手前で左車線沿いのコンビニの駐車場を通り抜けて左折。駐車場内に人影は確認できず、そのままの速度で通過可能。
了解。
Thanatos' directions were calculated in real time, based on an enormous amount of data concerning road congestion and the status of nearby traffic lights. As a result, their route was changing it once every few seconds. Amane was driving like a mad woman, maneuvering frantically for an entire minute to pull a second further away from her pursuers. But while their distance from the Humvees fluctuated, there wasn't much to be done about the helicopter. Prompted by a twinge of concern that she might burn through her entire tank of gasoline, Amane glanced over at the fuel gauge, but a moment later the entrance to the forest path she'd been heading for finally came into view. The word zone had a specific meaning in this context. It was essentially an area that offered her an insurmountable advantage as a driver. Once she was inside it, not even Tomi Maki or Colin Mack himself would be able to catch her. Whether or not this was literally true, her confidence was so absolute that she genuinely believed it. That was just how it felt to be in the zone. Oh yikes. The Yanbar leaped off the tarmac onto the gravel path, launched airborne by a sizable bump. Its suspension bottomed out as it landed, compressing its rubber bump stops. But without missing a beat, it tore off up the mountain road. Even with the engine located in the rear, this truck would always be hopelessly front-heavy. And thanks to the regrettably short wheelbase, its stability was exceptionally problematic. After exceeding a certain pace, you had to make frequent corrections with the wheel and carefully nurse the accelerator with just to keep the fussy thing moving forward in a straight line. But even so, in Amane's capable hands, the Yanbar roared steadily up the rough path, the squealing of its supercharger echoing throughout the quiet forest. Glancing briefly into her rearview mirror, she saw that the headlights of the vehicles pursuing them were already shrinking into the distance. The overall performance of a motor vehicle is largely dependent on its raw horsepower and its weight. Even with enlarged bores and a high-lift camshaft, at the end of the day, the Yanbar was still just a mini-truck, and their pursuers were driving HMVs sporting 6.2-liter V8 diesel engines. On an ordinary road, their maximum speed wasn't particularly different. The Yanbar even had a slight advantage. Still, there was a fundamental difference in horsepower that simply couldn't be denied. In a heavy car with lots of raw power, slamming down on the accelerator on a road like this could leave your wheels spinning uselessly in place instead of propelling you forward. By comparison, the lightweight Yanbar's superb pickup meant it could keep moving even when its wheels sank into the gravel. On long straightaways, that advantage would disappear very quickly, but the time she lost there could be regained on the corners. That had always been Amane's style. Damn, you didn't know we were playing dirt. Oh, really seems like we are. As a child, Amane had watched her father drive up this road countless times. Thanks to that intimate familiarity, her steering was assured and her acceleration decisive. The noisy clatter of small pebbles against the fenders brought back a flood of memories that softened her face with nostalgia. Now you see, Meikyuu, that is called drifting. When Meikyuu, prone to car sickness at the best of times, let out a bitter shriek, Amane finally remembered that she had passengers along for the ride. Reluctantly, she eased the accelerator pedal slightly up off the floor. She'd expected this to some degree, but a part of her had been hoping she'd break away decisively the instant they took this onto the gravel. Unfortunately, rough courses like this made it easier for cars in the rear to close in on the leader. When the car in front of you took a turn fast, you'd go in knowing that it was safe to do the same. And even if you did go in moving too quickly, it wasn't a problem as long as you were willing to ram into the car ahead of you. Oh, I believe it. This was all the more true on dark mountain roads, which demanded intense concentration. Even with the HID headlights, it was hard not to feel anxious. The only real advantage the lead car had in this situation was that the surface of the road wasn't disturbed for them. Sometimes your tires would throw up enough gravel to expose sharp rocks capable of puncturing the tires of the vehicles that followed. But unfortunately, their pursuers had wide 17-inch tires designed for off-road conditions. A pointy rock or two wasn't going to do much for them. If anything, Amane was the one at an advantage where tires were concerned. Her small 12-inchers kicked the wheel sharply at the smallest hop, and they wouldn't turn properly unless the Yonbar's full weight was resting on them. You couldn't take too many careless flying leaps with tires like these either. The impacts would eventually peel the beads right off the rims of the tires. Fortunately, she checked beforehand and found that the Yonbar had tubes specially installed inside originally tubeless tires. That meant she could take a few jumps without the risk of a blowout, but she couldn't expect her pursuers to encounter any mechanical trouble either. Uh-oh. Did they just ram us? For just an instant, the rear tires had lifted up off the ground. With all its weight pressing down on the front wheels, the Yonbar swayed heavily. Its nose turned slowly toward the thicket of the outer side of the curve. That's not the way. An understeer this massive couldn't be corrected just by turning the wheel. Amane tore her eyes away from the looming thicket ahead, forcing herself to look in the direction she wanted to go. And with her gaze fixed on the inside of the corner, she reached down and gave the handbrake a sharp yank. The rear wheels of the trembling mini-truck finally settled down firmly onto the ground. At the cost of a significant velocity, she corrected its balance. The engine, still in third gear, had fallen to a mere 2,500 RPM. She dropped to second and slammed on the accelerator, but on an incline like this, it was hard to pick up speed. This was not ideal. She hadn't just failed to pull away, they were actually gaining on her. Sweat pouring from her scalp, her nose tingling with heat, Amane sank for a moment into something like despair. To be perfectly honest, she'd already been pushing this thing to the limit. When driving on public roads, she always allowed herself a certain margin for error. But she'd cut that down to basically nothing, and even so, they caught up to her easily and rammed her in the rear. These people were determined to stop her, even if it meant a violent collision. A single mistake, and they'd push her off the course and send her tumbling down the mountain. If they smacked into her there, she'd be knocked off the road instantly. Given that, there wasn't much choice but to take the turn as fast as she possibly could. Dropping from 4th gear to 3rd, then down to 2nd, she swung the Yonbar sharply to prepare for the coming angular shift, temporarily placing most of its weight onto the front wheel as inertia carried it forward. This is physics, boys and girls, and that's a bright white light. In that instant of vulnerability, a flash of light from the side caught Amane's eye, and she glanced over to see the nearest pursuit vehicle rushing straight toward her. Just as she realized how much trouble she was in, the Humvee poked her in the behind with its bumper, and the steering wheel kicked violently in her hands. They'd smacked into the back of the truck at a moment when the rear wheels were gliding without any weight on them. Ignoring Amine's input entirely, the nose of the Yonbar jumped sharply toward the inside of the curve. A hair-raising jolt of dread flashed its way instantly through her body. If you got rear-ended in the middle of a drift, there wasn't much to be done. The rear wheels slid further and further out of position. It felt like the back of the car was actually pulling ahead of her. Oh man, I'm screwed this time. Amine's foot twitched reflexively, eager to move off the gas pedal. But if she eased up on the throttle now, the Yonbar would just smack nose first into the bushes on the inside of the corner. Once that happened, its speed would drop to 0. She'd be stopped dead. That would be game over for sure. There'd be no hope for a comeback. Of course, if she slammed down on the accelerator instead, she'd end up spinning out of control. Once she started to spin, the Humvee would ram right into her again. Unless she got lucky, they might very well knock her right off the cliff. There wasn't a thing to be done. Her hands stiffened on the steering wheel as if frozen into place. I'm done for. As those words flashed through Amine's mind, her brain kicked into full-on survival mode and began to search desperately for some way to escape this dilemma. And almost instantaneously, she found herself remembering something from her childhood. It wasn't as if a clear-cut answer had just popped into her head, but nonetheless she found herself kicking down on the clutch and throwing the car into reverse. With the clutch still half engaged, she turned the wheel back from a brief countersteer, and her overly sharp angle of approach smoothly corrected itself. This was one of the super secret techniques her father had demonstrated for her on their way back from delivering food one afternoon many years ago. He'd barreled into a sharp hairpin curve at the end of a long straightaway, traveling at an obviously excessive speed, and then drifted through it using something he called the Kamioka turn. And thanks to her vivid memory of that day, Amane could recall the exact moment in which he'd shifted the truck's load across its tires. Here we go. There had been no time for conscious thought. She imitated the move on pure reflex. Still turned completely sideways, the Yonbar drifted easily into the curve. All of a sudden, she'd slipped well ahead of the Humvee that rammed her only moments before. Still in 0 counter, her hands not even touching the wheel, Amane let the momentum of that jolt carry the Yonbar forward and watched it slip neatly around the very inside of the corner as if guided by a string. Turning around to look back into the glaring headlights of the Humvee, she pointed at the driver, then jerked her hand vigorously backward. Keep on going, buddy. Right off the edge of that mountain. In that instant, the Yonbar disappeared entirely from its pursuer's field of vision. The driver couldn't even understand what had just happened. Rest in peace. The next thing he knew, he was rushing into the curve at a massive understeer. Slamming his foot down on the brake, he plunged helplessly toward the sharp slope ahead of him. As the lead Humvee tumbled nose first off the edge of the road, the next vehicle in the line slammed into it from behind. Watching this chain of collisions unfold through her rearview mirror, Amane eased her foot slightly up off the gas pedal.
ムキになって突っ込んでくるからもう人を突き落とそうとするやつは自分も落っこちる覚悟が必要なのよさどうしますか助けた方がいいのかないえそうではなくて距離も開いたことですし罠でも仕掛けますか2分いただければ今日この日の狐狩りに参加したことを彼らに一生後悔させてあげられますがいやそういうのいいからアンパン踏んで車輪ドーン車から降りてタイヤ変えてるところに S マインがシポンってバーンうっとり
Man, Sachi and her explosives sometimes.
プロは爆破に酔っちゃダメなのよサッチそうだねマキちゃん 反省。こら、そうやって物騒なこと言ってるとホモのテロリストがさらいに来るよ。
A homo terrorist? What the
う
fuck?
わー、怖い。
What the hell is happening? With the road behind them blocked off by the accident, everyone finally had a chance to catch their breath. And within moments, a piteous groan emerged from the back of the truck. No, it's been a while. At this point, there wasn't anything left in her stomach to vomit. Come to think of it, so many times had Meikyuu thrown up since she'd gotten into the yawn bar.
だかよ、チルチル。なんかもうすっかりゲロキャラが定着したな。もう何も出ない。どうしよう。休憩している余裕はないけど、少しぐらいはペースを落とした方がいいのかな。
No, 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 no. We gotta get out of
ク
here.
ロさん、どうなったの？カメラがないとこちらからは何も確認できないの。現状を報告して。
追いかけてきた車の先頭が崖下に頭突っ込んで、そこに後続車が次々と突っ込んで玉突き状態。道が塞がっちゃったからしばらくは追いかけてこられないと思う。
追跡は振り切ったということ？
いえ、車はついてきていませんが。
We got the
ヘ
helicopter.
リが2機に増えたのよさ。
2機？
1機はこれまでずっと私たちを追っかけてきた OH1、 それに加えてもう1機。機種は暗くてよく見えないけど、多分アパッチロングボウ。
戦闘ヘリ？
あれ OH1 が帰ってく。燃料がなくなったから交代ってことなのかな。でもなんかあのヘリ高度を下げてきてない？もしかして狙われてるんじゃ。
Think I know who this
ま
is.
さかこっちには風見くんがいるのよ。部活に攻撃はしてこないとは思うけど。
What the fuck? Okay, nope, that is not who I thought it was.
どういうこと？国内での発砲許可が下りたということ？タナトスさん、 ごめんなさい。今の私はシステムの 60% を損失しています。どこのヘリかは確かめようもないけれど、このタイミングから考えるとおそらくはオスロが用意していた空中要員でしょうね。
Oh, that's right. Oslo sent out a helicopter. I was thinking that was Millie because she was taking a helicopter, or she stole a helicopter to come over to Tokyo.
なんとか攻撃をやめさせて基地に帰るようにすることはできない？
Or I think it was Tokyo. Regardless, she stole a helicopter. We haven't seen her since.
私も忙しいのよ。システムを 15% 奪われたら 10% 取り戻すのを繰り返し。穴の開いた船からバケツで水を汲み出しているような状態ね。こっちは文字通りセキュリティの穴から転送を行っているわけだし、パイプラインの太さがまるで違う。このままではあと1時間も持たないわ。
全てのシステムを掌握されたらあなたはどうなるの？
そうね。目も耳も口も塞がれてしまっている状態かしら。大丈夫よ。別に死にはしないわ。今は私の心配よりももっと重要なことがあるでしょ。
Jesus Christ.
日本人じゃないのかも。ちくしょう、熱感知で追っかけてきてんだし、当てようと思えば当てられるくせに遊ばれてるのよさ。ライフルの弾さえあれば撃ち落としてやんのに。こっちが諦めて止まるか、慌ててミスをして止まっちゃうまでああやって撃ってくるつもりかな。いや、まずいぞ。あいつミサイルぶら下げてる。
Yeah.
撃つつもりあるのかな、ミサイル。でかいもんぶら下げてりゃ使ってみたくなるのが男ってもんなのよ。
Sure. Uh-oh.
これ来た、総員対爆防御。 たら危ないよ。ちゃんと防弾シートに隠れて。こんなのかぶったって30ミリ食らえば障子紙より簡単に突き破られるのよ。
That is true.
狙いにくくする意味はあるよ。人間の顔って目立つんだから。みんな無事？なんとか。そこから200メートルぐらい先に土砂の採掘場があるわ。なんとかそこまで逃げ込んで。確かに採掘場はあるけど、どうするの？止めるの？今ネットの航空写真で確認したけど、土砂を掘り返した穴が掩体壕みたいになってる場所があるから、そこを探して車ごと隠れて。でも車を止めたら狙い撃ちされるよりはマシです。最悪の場合車を捨てて逃げなさい。お兄ちゃんはどうすんのよさ。あさみくんはその場に置いていきます。本気で言ってんのか？他に手段がないのよ。私が背負って逃げますから。うわ、やばい、次来るぞー。
Boom. The shock was far heavier than the one they received when the Humvee ran them earlier. Even inside the vehicle, the heat was intense enough to sting Amine's skin, and the force of the blast easily lifted the rear of the Yonbar into the air, leaving the steering wheel all but weightless in her hands. As her seat belt dug deeply into her shoulder, her mouth snapped shut before she even had a chance to scream. The ground suddenly a diagonal slope rushed up to meet her. A mere 15-degree lift in the back of the car left her unable to see anything but the ground. It felt as if she was driving at full tilt toward a solid earthen wall. Reflexively, Amine squeezed her eyes shut. Her hands were thrown violently off the steering wheel, and she felt the suspension bottom out. She could tell that the skid plate directly underneath her seat had made direct contact with the ground. The impact of the blast had briefly left her floating up into the air, but the instant the Yonbar landed, her butt had slammed back down into her seat, sending a shock of pain up her backbone. Oh crap, here it comes. The very instant this thought ran through her mind, the airbag in the center of the steering wheel deployed. Lovely. Smacked in the face by a large, rock-hard pillow, Amine's world went dark, except for the stars dancing before her eyes. Her left foot, previously resting on the floorboard, was now wedged under the clutch pedal. She hadn't felt terror like this in years, not since those awful days after the bus accident. I don't want to die, not in a place like this. At first, that was the only coherent thought in her mind, but as she wavered on the brink of unconsciousness, white noise roaring in her ears, she heard another voice answer her. It's all right. Human beings are sturdier than you'd expect. Don't give up now.
Yuji.
Amine's eyes snapped open, and she reached out to take hold of the steering wheel once again. As her eyes gently curled around it, the Yonbar responded instantly, almost as if it had been waiting for her touch. Amine wasn't entirely sure what had just happened. And neither am I! But at the very least, the truck was still on the road, and it was still accelerating as she jammed her foot down on the gas pedal. Sorry about that, buddy. Can you keep going for a little longer? The Yonbar answered her silent question with a forceful roar. Of course, you don't want to give up yet, do you? She wasn't done yet. Not by a long shot. Her car could still move. She wasn't about to throw in the towel yet. As Amine clutched the wheel with renewed determination, a shower of earth thrown up by the explosion rained loudly down on the roof, and there was a bitter scream from the back of the truck. God fucking damn it. Please let me choose what we do here. I will leave her behind. We can just continue on.
今車を止めれば確実に車輪を破壊されて走行不能になるわ。でも1分でいいからお願い。その1分が重要なのよ。松島みちるのために全滅するつもり？
No! No! I'd rather risk it for food. No! We are continuing.
ちなみに 今ここで松島みちるの身柄が敵の手に落ちても殺されることはないわ。
ふざけんな。私の部隊からは一人の落語者も出さん。誰一人として置き去りにはせん。チルチルは俺の親友なのよ。置いてけない。だったら私だけでも下ろして私が迎えに行くのよさ。ダメだよマキちゃん。離せサッチン、離さんか。無理だよマキちゃん。マキちゃんだって怖いんでしょ。こんなに震えてるのにどうして。どうしてもクソもあるか。親友を助けに行くのに理由が必要なのか。必要なのは勇気だけなのよさ。だったら私が代わりに。サッチンはお兄ちゃんを守るのが仕事だろうが。マキちゃん大変です。マキちゃんが荷台から飛び降りちゃいました。
At full fucking speed?
マキナ行っちゃったの？すみません、アマネさん。後で必ず追いつきますから、先に行っていてください。
Oh god, no!
さっちゃんまで何する気？スオさん。どうしよう、榊さん。二人とも飛び出して行っちゃったよ。そう。じゃあ、待ちましょうか。でも、いいの？スオさんは、さっき私が説明した掩体壕に隠れて待機。それで本当にいいの？後悔はしない？後のことは私が全ての責任を取ります。でしょうね。あなたたちならそうするだろうと思っていたわ。勘違いしてほしくはないのだけれど、別に私だって感情のままに指示を出しているわけじゃないわ。私の計算ではあと7分の余裕がある。それ以上の時間がかかった場合は、スオさん、あなたがロスした時間を取り戻すのよ。7分か。
Meikyuu had been thrown from the back of the truck, and in an attempt to rescue her, Machina had leapt out of her own free will. Having witnessed all this, Sachi had grabbed her kitchen knives and her rope, then hopped out and turned. Hitting the ground hard, she rolled 3 times, jumped quickly to her feet, and then threw herself into a nearby bamboo grove. Peering upward, she saw the enemy helicopter pass by overhead. It appeared to be actively searching for the stragglers who had jumped out of the truck. Fortunately, the human body was more difficult to detect than a combustion engine using infrared cameras. Switching on its searchlight, the chopper began to look around the old-fashioned way. Crouching low inside the grove, Sachi chopped through a slender bamboo plant with one of her knives, then cleared off its branches to make a rod. She proceeded to attach one of her homemade flashlights to the very tip of this pole using a zip tie. Next, selecting a thicker bamboo plant, she clambered halfway up it, and then, as it bent under her weight, she tied her rope to the very top of it. By bending the supple plant like a bow, she created a makeshift catapult on which she now set the spear she'd put together moments before. She just needed to cut the rope with when the helicopter passed overhead. As Sachi muttered a quiet prayer to the sky, her target obediently made its appearance. Staring up at it like a predator tracking their prey, she quickly estimated its altitude and the speed of its approach, then cut down the fuse of her flashbang and lit it with her lighter.
4、3、2、1.
Counting down steadily as she waited for the crucial moment, Sachi replaced the lighter in her hand with a knife. Now. With a small battle cry, she swung down her blade, slicing through the taut rope in a single blow. The bamboo bow rocketed upward, propelling the spear that she'd bound to it high into the sky. Ooh. A half-second later, the flashbang exploded directly in front of the helicopter. The optical sensor that the gunner in the front seat had been looking into instantly went pure white, and the pilot in the rear seat was likewise blinded by the powerful flash. The magnesium powder scattered by the explosion hit the helicopter, and the hot metal fragments dug into the cockpit, clouding the gas. It's a simple fox hunt, not like they can fight back. That thought had probably made them a bit careless. Struck dumbfounded by this unanticipated attack, the pilot reflexively jerked the chopper's nose upward to prevent a fall.
ああ、やっぱ落とすのは無理か。
She hadn't really believed a glorified firework toy could take out a genuine combat helicopter, my bad. But even so, it was hard not to feel a little frustrated. How far had they climbed? Another 200 meters? Looking up at the helicopter as it shifted sideways while watching for more attacks from the ground, Sachi turned with a flourish of her black uniform and plunged back into the grove. Alright, we are going to end it here. I'm not doing an hour episode. Come on, guys. Alright, so the attempt of escape is still going on. We will see what happens in the next episode. The operation is still going on full force. We just got to get away from everyone. Somehow, some way we will. I don't know where the hell we're meeting up. And I'm sure there's going to be more twists and turns to come before we are technically safe. Before we can figure out what to do next with Yuji's lovely accessory on his arm. But thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Take it easy.